appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down and talk to us. We do really appreciate it. So I'm just going to start the interview now and obviously touch on the fact that we're all embracing this concept of remote working, and in terms of internally, different businesses are having their own challenges. But one of them is the sort of increased demand that's been placed on networks. But for us that don't really understand the sort of science behind that, what exactly is happening in terms of networks and the effects that's being placed on it because of this current crisis?
Yeah, no, that's that's the fundamental question that I keep getting. Is the internet going to break? If you think about it that way. And no, it won't break. The internet is actually built for situations like this. But there is a difference between the fixed broadband type of connectivity versus the mobile internet type of connectivity. Now, fixed internet is built for settling in at night, high definition streaming, loads of data. When you talk about the type of traffic that's generated today in this scenario, we're talking about video conferencing all day long. We're talking about online gaming. That generates nowhere near as much traffic as that high definition fixed broadband type of use case. However, mobile internet has its other challenges. Yeah. So, of the planet's more than 4 billion internet users, most of them are using mobile internet. Okay.
Yeah.
So what actually happens? Obviously, each of us have a mobile phone. A radio signal gets emitted to our base station. The base station via either fiber optic or microwave then connects through to the core network, and then the core network connects us out to the wider internet.
Okay.
With the changes that we've got now, when it comes to the isolation, working from home, it means that what we're seeing is essentially a geographic redistribution of the traffic.
Okay.
Traditionally, we had the hotspots like your shopping malls, like your restaurant districts, like your downtown, busy business areas, and that's where the concentration of that connectivity has been. Now you move that out into a suburban area, you're changing which base station that these mobile phones are connecting to. One big problem comes that potentially so many more connections are coming into a base station that wasn't optimized for that type of traffic. So very much the challenge starts to become, how do I re-optimize the different distribution of traffic in different parts of the network? The other piece is around uplink and downlink. How do I, again, optimize that type of data patterns and data traffic patterns across each of the different network cells within a wider network? So that's been the general change, I would say. And what that means for the mobile operator is that while they may have had investment plans or development plans in one area, they may have to bring forward different types of investment plans, capacity planning. They'll have to bring forward different type of network re-optimization planning, et cetera, et cetera. Essentially, the other piece that comes into the fore is that people are talking more. Yeah, funny enough, it's not just about data connectivity, but we're talking more, which is a great thing from a society perspective.
Yeah.
But again, it gives a different traffic pattern that we need to accommodate for.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer and very comprehensive. And just to touch on, as you say, in terms of the traffic in suburban areas, you've obviously got like a community like the Greens where there's a lot of children live there in a gated community, and obviously they're all online at school, so they're all having quite a lot of issues in terms of connectivity. And you said like conferencing tools, are Zoom and apps like Microsoft Teams, are they adding to it, or is it just going back to the initial point about the re-optimization of the base stations? Is that the fundamental problem?
It's not necessarily just one problem or one issue to tackle. It's a collective group of issues, I would say, that you need to accommodate. For sure that you need to be able to provide particular bandwidth. For sure you need to provide particular connectivity. Re-optimization of the network is a must, in particular different cells. When it comes to the ability to switch. So think about from a pure user perspective. Actually, what we've started to find in the Middle East initially is that the mobile internet traffic has actually gone up. And if you think about it, it would be the case where the majority of the 4 billion internet users are on mobile. As I lose the ability to be on a fixed connection in the office or at a Wi-Fi in the shopping mall, etc., I'm using my mobile connectivity elsewhere. What starts to happen in that sense is that when you come back to your own home, you have two options. Can I connect to Wi-Fi? Do I have only mobile internet as my option, as an example?
Yes.
So it's a mixed bag. You see here in the UAE, as an example, we have amazing fixed broadband connectivity, which means that a lot of users will move to that type of connectivity. And you find around the Middle East, it's a very different scenario, country by country, where in fact, in some countries, the mobile internet connection becomes a much more critical piece of infrastructure in this type of scenario. So that's why I say to you, there's no one answer or one golden arrow that is able to address all issues. But I must say, what's coming up now is that mobile networks, mobile internet, more so than fixed, is very much built for simultaneous user connectivity. And that's why mobile internet is just one of those bastions in this type of scenario that amazingly helps us keep connected, maintain connectivity, and when we can, move about.
Yeah, so you've got the flexibility between obviously the fixed and then the mobile data, depending on where you are. So obviously there's a lot of pressure on operators at the minute, but do you think they're coping quite well with it? And like, we shouldn't panic in terms of, like, as you said at the start, the internet's going to break. Like it is going to be okay. And obviously it looks like these sort of interviews that I'm having now with yourself is going to be the norm for, probably a significant period of time before things get back to normal. So we shouldn't be concerned really in terms of whether or not the networks can cope. They clearly can cope. It's just a case of, as you say, that re-optimization and trying to figure out the best way to manage the situation.
Yeah, it's exactly that. So will they break? Absolutely not. Will there be issues that we need to cater for? Absolutely. And in different areas where we're rolling out certain type of coverages, we're working with our service providers today to get local permission or government permission, as an example, to roll out a new site where that new site would help enhance the type of connectivity in a particular area. So while it may take a little bit more time to be able to mitigate risks and ensure that we're doing it with all safety for everybody involved, it still can happen. And the amazing thing that our service providers are doing, we're on calls 24/7 with our service providers today, our customers that are helping their customers, us as residential, both fixed and mobile broadband users. They're helping to ensure a quality of service that, again, is holding up extremely well. And I think one of the things that's unknown, I guess, to the wider consumer is that a lot of these service providers are already planning ahead 3 to 5 years when it comes to traffic patterns. Very much we talk about this on a regular basis. All our service providers are doing now is starting to fast track those investments and fast track those optimizations where they're needed. Because again, a service provider doesn't also do an initial network plan and a network optimization and a capacity plan for today's traffic. Every service provider is always having a network capable for much higher peak, much more growth. So where we're going is to fill a gap in that space, but their planning is few years ahead. And I think that's something that I've seen in my experience, especially here in the Middle East and Africa.